pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Supreme Architect of the universe, we invoke thy blessing at this time.
You all have in your packet a copy of the minutes. Jeannie and I have gone over them, and we find them to be correct. If there are not any changes that needs to be made, I need a motion to approve the minutes. Motion by Magistrate Murphy, second by Magistrate Roberts. Madam Clerk, have a roll call vote, please.
Judge, I have one change. On court order number 01.15.13.007, we need to let the court know that the City of Pikeville invoice was decreased from $375 to $150 for the open records request because they had charged us 25 cents a copy and not the 10 cents a copy.
And there was a statutory limit on that.
It's an Attorney General's opinion, which is a laundry list of Attorney General opinions.
Make a motion to amend the minutes and approve them. So we have a motion and a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson, Magistrate Johnson. Check.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy, Magistrate Robinson, Magistrate Dotson.
Yes.
Magistrate Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes. You know, I said recently that Pike County had a tear in its eyes, and we did. We lost Assistant County Attorney Eddie Green. I had the opportunity to meet Eddie, who was from Stone in Pike County and Pond Creek, and saw him every morning that we both came to work. We usually arrived at the same time in the hallway downstairs. Eddie Green always had just a little smile on his face. The Lord took him at a very young age. So, Judge Hayes, I would ask you to read the proclamation we've had and then call on the county attorney to talk about our departed friend and colleague.
Thank you, Judge. This is a resolution honoring the service of Assistant County Attorney Eddie Green, by the Pike County Fiscal Court, whereas Assistant Pike County Attorney for the Commonwealth of Kentucky, Eddie Green, passed away on January 16, 2013 at the age of 34, and whereas Eddie was of the Baptist faith and was a member of the Thomas C. Cecil Lodge number 375 F and AM, and whereas Eddie is survived by his parents, Roger Dale and Pamela Van Hoos Green, his fiancee, Mika Hall, and two brothers, Brian Green of Lynchburg, Virginia, and Bradley Blankenship of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Pike County Fiscal Court, hereby recognize the services provided to Pike County by Eddie Green and further recognize him as a model citizen, loyal son, brother, friend, and fiancé. Done in the County of Pike, the 5th day of February in the year of our Lord 2013, and this is executed by Wayne T. Rutherford, Judge Executive, Howard Keith Hall, County Attorney, Jeff Anderson, District 1 Magistrate, Vernon C. Johnson, District 2 Magistrate, Leo Murphy, District 3 Magistrate, Kenneth Robinson, District 4 Magistrate, Hillman Dotson, District 5 Magistrate, and Christian Harris, District 6 Magistrate. And Judge, with that, if I may have just a second.
Go right ahead, Judge Hayes.
I want to personally comment about Eddie Green. I mourn his loss, and I pray for his family and his loved ones and all of his many friends. It was just a tragic loss of this young man and a fine young person at the age of 34. Eddie, Judge, as you have observed, always had a smile on his face, even in the heat of battle over in district court, as he was one of the assistant county attorneys who handled the criminal docket over there. He was just a real pleasure to be around as a person and as a professional. and Pike County mourns and will miss Eddie Green. With that, Judge, we do have present today our County Attorney, Howard Keith Hall. At this time, I know he has some comments that he would like to make about Eddie.
Good morning, everybody. I appreciate the time and the opportunity to speak of this great man. I took this job 17 years ago in this courtroom, and everybody wants to do a good job at what they do. I had never gotten the chance to employ people, and one of the things I'm proud of is some of the people that have worked in my office over the years. We've had 15 ladies that have worked in my office that are now attorneys somewhere out through Kentucky over a 17-year period, and that's one of the things I'm proud of, is that the chance that we've offered ladies and women that have become very good professionals in our community, and everywhere from Virginia Beach to down to Louisville, that are serving, and some still serving here in our community. Also several good men. They're not as pretty as the girls, but we've had several men work as assistant county attorneys over these 17 years as well. I didn't get a chance to serve in the military, and I feel kind of shy in here on Veterans Day, but like John Doug said, the battle over here in the courtrooms are pretty tough, and I've never lost a friend or somebody I've been in battle with or anything like that. But Eddie Green was obviously a superstar, an up-and-coming star, and we realized that about the time he got sick. It just coincidentally happened. A lot of people think his illness is why he was so popular. I think it was just the fact he was being discovered simultaneous. I remember when I was a young man, we lost Harry Stamper up here. He lived in my neighborhood, and then just a few years ago, we lost Judge Ellswick, right in the prime of his, a little bit older than Eddie, but both those guys were a little older than Eddie, but still right while we were working with them and right in the prime of their lives. So most politicians around here, Judge, if I may use their gentleman to my left, most people around here live to 100. I don't know, good clean living and working around a courthouse isn't as stressful as everybody thinks it is, because most of us live to pretty old ages, and I hope to double my age. You all celebrated my 50th birthday here the other day, but Eddie was 34 and was a great person, great man, and he knew how to handle that district court. It's kind of a unique individual that can handle that over there. Anybody that has a job where you're representing the police, and those of you that have worked as police or prosecution, takes a very special personality to get enough fine or penalty to make the state happy, while at the same time making the person that's trying to pay their bills happy as well. He did an excellent job on that as a liaison, got along with the judges, the other attorneys, and everyone, and also this fiscal court worked indirectly here as well, worked in the same building on the same floor. And I want to tell y'all how much I appreciate you doing this, because I promised his family we'd be doing something for him. I ain't done nothing. I promised you I'd put his picture out there. I haven't got around to it. It takes time to stop, and I see y'all done something for Jerry Adkins here as well. It takes time to stop and reflect and thank people. We're all busy with the things we have to do. It's great that people take time and do the things they don't have to do, and one of the things you don't have to do is stop and thank everybody and reflect, and that's one of the things this court's done a very good job. All 6 of these magistrates, Judge Rutherford and Brandon and Judge Hayes and Roland working in my office, and all the clerks and the treasurer, you all and all these people that work with each of the departments, you all are very, very good at taking your time and thanking your people and being courteous, and you all, each of these commissioners and stuff thank my office almost monthly for the things that we do and are involved in. It's just been a great work environment around here lately. Next year's election year, it might not be as good, so we ought to enjoy the times we're having. And it's just been great. And recognizing Eddie was the biggest thing this court could have done for my office. I really, really appreciate this. This was a very big thing. You all put a line for me to sign there, but it was this court that did it, and I really appreciate you guys. This is, I cry at night when I don't want to act up here. I got to be tough. We all got to be tough up here in this courtroom. So I appreciate you all, and I'll go back here and sit and watch, and then watch it again tonight on Pike TV. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Keith. And I want to add that we are going to, of course, forward a copy of this resolution to the family of Eddie Green. I believe, Master Harris, they live over in your district. Is that correct? And when the court does approve it, we want to do that. And furthermore, we are going to try to have a copy of this resolution with a small photograph of Eddie made into a plaque and have it hung on the district court floor in the hallway where it can be observed by the public in the new courthouse, Judge, in the new judicial building, I should say. I don't want to confuse people about a new courthouse. At the new judicial building, and of course that will be done in accordance with the wishes of the district judges, Judge Kelsey Friend and Judge Darrell Mullins.
Thank you, Judge Hayes. Next, we as a court, of course.
Judge, I think we probably need a motion.
We need a motion by Magistrate Harris, please.
And before I make the motion, I just want to say that I knew Eddie as well and worked with him in the court system, and he was a fine person, a gentleman, if there ever has been one to practice law. And I had the opportunity to work with him on numerous occasions, and he was always very accommodating. It does. Keith said it right. It takes a special person to be a prosecutor and to balance all the things that you have to balance in that office, and he was real good at doing it. He'll be missed by a lot of people, and I'll be glad to make the motion that we adopt the resolution.
Motion, Magistrate Harris. Have a second. Have a second, Magistrate Anderson. Have a roll call vote, please, Madam Clerk.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Next, we have a fellow that we want to honor and a company we want to honor today, being the best and the best. And it's Jerry Adkins, and Jerry and his family is present here today. Jerry's father, A.J., told him one time to never sell a home to anybody who wouldn't live in himself. And I think that was good advice. Been in the manufactured home business for 34 years. Now, folks, a lot of the trailer businesses have come and gone. Bobby Branham and I talked some time ago of we could put probably on our hands 10 or 12 of them that had been in business here and over the years and gone. And so he put together a good staff, his wife Sherry, and he put the money up himself to go in business. And going back to what I think Magistrate Harris said, it's an example of anybody from Pike County, and I think Judge Patton over the years and Governor Patton has used that many, many times. We can do anything anybody else wants to do anywhere in this country because we have the ability and the people here to do it. But imagine all the way from Ashland, Kentucky to over to Norton, Virginia, this is the only manufacturer independent home seller and independently owned on US 23 and it being here in Pike County. I had an opportunity to talk to a lady down in Louisville at the conference, and she said, "Judge Rutherford, you're from Pike County, and I want to ask you about a fellow." And he said he has been a leader in the Kentucky Manufactured Home Institute, and it's Jerry Adkins. I said, "I know Jerry, I know his family, and a good businessman." Run a tight ship, been able to stay in a business where a lot of people didn't survive over the years, but he's been able to survive. And I have a letter today from Betty Whitaker, the Executive Director of the Kentucky Manufactured Housing Institute, and she tells about how active that Jerry Adkins has been and the personal time he has given this association. And in regard to legislation, in regard to this type of home building in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. The industry, she said, had benefited from his superior consumer satisfaction at his retail dealership in Pike County, Kentucky. And Jerry's loyalty and support is certainly in his accomplishments have been and will be in the future, continue to be recognized by this state organization. He has a sales manager, Neil Coleman, 11 years in the business, and his word has been his bond. And anybody that you talk to that's done business with him, they will tell you that. I know when Bobby Branham and I was last time in his office, he was an avid collector of Dale Earnhardt, I believe, up there, and I had never, other than going to museums in Tennessee and North Carolina, seen as much as he had collected in regard to that. So he has a hobby besides the work that he does and what he provides for his family. He is an advocate for a manufactured home and a modular home, I guess, too, you would call it. And as Mrs. Whitaker said, has received numerous awards. One of them being the Make America Housing Service Distinguished Retailer Award in '95, once again in '96. Patriot Homes top retailer 3 years in a row, 05, 6, and 7. Home of Legends Customer Satisfaction Award in '99, and is a longtime member of the local chamber. We had the opportunity to talk to some of the people that had done business with him, and the one was Tim and Kathy Dye. Brandon was able to get a statement from them, and they just said he was good to do business with, and they would go back and do business with him again. They got a hold of Freddie and Anita Cantrell and said the same thing. This is where we would do business. When we need another home, we'll go back to him because he keeps his word. So, Judge Hayes, if you would read the proclamation of the best and the best to Jerry Adkins Home Sales, Judge Hayes.
It's a resolution by the Pike County Fiscal Court, whereas Jerry Adkins' father, A.J., once told him to never sell someone a home you would not live in yourself, and Jerry has never forgotten this piece of advice. And whereas for 34 years, Jerry has been in the manufactured home business, whether it's the 15 years he spent moving and setting up manufactured homes or the 19 years he has been selling them, and whereas Jerry took a gamble on starting his business, risking everything he owned to secure the funds needed for this endeavor. It was a gamble that paid off, and Jerry is now one of only 2 independent home sellers on US 23 from Ashland to Norton, Virginia. And whereas Jerry credits his honesty, his willingness to follow through on what he says he will do, his team, the quality products he sells, and the service he provides to the homes after they are sold as the ingredients for running a successful business. And whereas a testament to these ingredients for success is the amount of referrals and repeat customers Jerry Adkins Home Sales has had over the years, which Jerry says is by far a majority of his sales, and he has been the sponsor of the Jerry Adkins Sports Line on East Kentucky Broadcasting since 1996. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Pike County Fiscal Court, hereby name Jerry Adkins Home Sales the best of the best done in Pike, the County of Pike, the 5th day of February in the year of our Lord, 2013, and executed by Wayne T. Rutherford, Judge Executive, Howard Keith Hall, County Attorney, and all 6 of the magistrates.
You'll have a motion authorizing the proclamation. Have a motion, have a second, have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Yes. Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dotson? Yes. Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Ruth?
Yes. I would ask the magistrates to come around for the presentation in front, and then we will get a picture with Jerry and his family, and then we'll ask Mr. Adkins to come around and introduce who he has with him, because this business, I know Sherry, and it's a family business, and So if you'll come around, we'll make the presentation.
Are those fellows in the back with Summit? We got something with Summit?
Yeah, I bet you're right.
Brandon, you need to line us up.
Hey.
Wants to get a picture with his family, with his mother and dad, and Sherry. Turn around and get out of there, I'll get this picture and move on. Hold it so that give him your email later. Already got it. Go right ahead. Brandon, adjust this for him. Jerry, go right ahead and introduce your family. I said this is a family business, and I know it is, and I know how proud your family is of you and you of your family, so go right ahead.
Thank you, Judge. I am proud of my family. We have a family-owned operation. In our industry, it's referred to as a mom-and-pop operation, and I'm proud of that also. I have with me today my parents. We all know them as A.J. Adkins, my mom, Nada, and my wife, Sherry, who is an integral part of our business on the day-to-day operations.
Let's give this family a hand.
I'll not speak too long, but I'll start off by embarrassing myself and tell you y'all sure know how to make an old boy who's raised on the holler over at Millard feel proud of what he's been able to accomplish with his business over the years. Of course, I want to thank Judge Rutherford, his staff, all the magistrates, and the fiscal court as a whole for this honor. As the county attorney, Keith Hall, spoke early, sometimes you get caught up in day-to-day operations and you don't have time to do things you want to do, or maybe realize and thank the people that you need to thank and should thank. But to be able to do what I've been able to do over the years, you have to build a team, and I've been fortunate enough to have good people around me. Our contractor that moves and sets their homes out in the field, Mr. Kearney Prater, Prater's Home Movers up in Chick Johnson's district, about Joe Nancy. He's been with us, this is 18th year consecutive. I had a service technician that retired last year, was there 13 consecutive years, and my current sales manager, Neil Coleman, up in Mr. Kenneth Robinson's district off of the Rock House there. His dad was Ronald Coleman, preacher up there for many years. He's been with us 11 consecutive years now. It takes people like that to be successful. Also, my mom and dad are part of our business. My dad, when I started this business, especially selling the homes, we're going into our 20th year this year, a little later, a few more months. I told Dad, I said, I'm gonna need you to help me for about a year or so, because there's not anything he can't fix. Well, it's been a long year for him. He's still helping us. And my mom, when we're all the time needing errand run and it seems like no one has time to do it, well, I turned to Mom. That's a family owned and operated business. And then last but not least, my lovely wife, Sherry, she's there every day, taking care of her part of the business, the clerical, the finance part. And without her, I don't know if this would have been possible or not. So in closing, I'd like to thank everyone for this opportunity. And I know I'd forget someone because I didn't write this down, but most and certainly not least, the customers of Pike and surrounding counties who have made it possible for us to remain in business. Without our customers, our consumers, none of this would be possible. So thank everyone that had a hand in on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry Adkins and family. Need a motion on the resolution. Motion, Chick Johnson. The second. Have a roll call vote, Madam Clerk. You get it? We next have just a short update. We now have in the solid waste and the animal shelter accepting credit cards. This service that we think the people of the county would make it available to them. We had the request. We had people that had come into both places and wanted an animal, and you had people come in who wanted to pay their solid waste bill. So we're glad that we're now accepting the credit cards and debit cards, and I think it's Visa. Am I right, Jeannie? Is it the Visa card? Only one card they accept? Visa? What is it? They accept all cards, so let's get that straight. Not just the Visa, but all cards. Okay, and then we just had a wellness program. You know, we have, we're 8th in the county in the number of people we employ, if I'm right, and that's in county offices, and that includes county government, which is about 250 in the fiscal court. And then, of course, we have 42, I think, the jail. Then the sheriff's office has 15 or 18, and then the clerk's office. So we have a lot. And Carl Napier, Jeannie, and the other staff, they've worked hard, and Brenda, all of them has worked hard in regard to insurance. And we know what the cost of insurance is today. So we worked with Blue Cross of Kentucky, and we come up with a wellness plan to try to lower our insurance rates and save the taxpayers money. And of course, they used this courtroom, and then they've been over to the county garage. I think they got one more session to do, but it is great. I had Jeannie to give my report to my general practitioner yesterday, and I'm sure everybody else is getting theirs to their general practitioner, their doctor. And and I think that one of them said that they found people who had never had their blood pressure checked before that was employed by the county. And so it's a good program. Glad that we are getting this done. And even though it didn't hurt much, Bobby, the prick on your finger, but for the blood, but we all weathered that storm. But some of the magistrates was here and to participate in that, and all of us in the county offices in the county government. We had also smoke detectors made available recently, and we had a ceremony over to the fire training building over in the city at the mouth of Chloe. And we had the state fire marshal here, and we had Randy Courtney, who is president of the Pike County Fire Chiefs Association, who presided as MC at that meeting. And this is from the again, we had a tear in our eye when we lost a family at Joe Nancy in the fire, and this was the outgrowth of that. and to try to get people to understand what smoke detectors mean for their home and protecting their family, their lives, and their home, of course, and their businesses. So hopefully this is just a beginning, and Doug Tackett is our coordinator with the fire department. And I think it surprised Doug and I both, as many showed up from the fire departments that day. We had a good attendance from our fire departments in the county. So we, as a fiscal court, are very much interested in our fire departments. We contribute about $300,000 a year for our fire departments of taxpayers' money to try to provide and to bring our insurance rates down again and save the taxpayers' money. So these were donated by the KIDDE, Kitty Corporation in North Carolina. We found out from the fire marshal and from Mr. Courtney that they have contacted other manufacturers of smoke alarms, and they will be signing with them and then making more available, Doug, to our fire departments to distribute. Anybody that wants to make an application for this alarm can go to their local fire departments or contact the chief or a member. And they will put you on a list, and they will come and install, and they know the proper place to install the smoke detector. The other thing I want to report to magistrates, we discovered recently in an inspection of the courthouse and the jail, which we're required to do by statute, that we had a courthouse breach, a security breach here at the courthouse. And if you notice up here that we now have a security camera installed, and Doug Tackett, again, thank you and your staff for getting that installed. But we found that somebody was, in the afternoon, was coming in. If you look at the door and placing this in the door, and we don't know where they were sleeping here, but we got to protect the clerk's office's files and the sheriff's office and all the offices here, and especially Heritage Hall and Veterans Hallway. They are things in that hallway can never be replaced. And in Veterans Hallway, we got over, I'd say, $3,000 worth in 2 cabinets, and we certainly don't want that pilfered or destroyed. So we've set it up so that we could have the chief of police of Pikeville and the sheriff's office and have a meeting with them and get the city police to start monitoring the doors after our closing time. So that I also can announce that we have received word from the president and CEO of the Norfolk Southern Railroad. Charles Carlton has worked with them for months and worked with the people in Mingo County, West Virginia, and in Buchanan County, Grundy and Williamson. He's had meetings with them and putting on a tri-state train excursion along with the Pike County Tourism and volunteers. And we are putting together an advisory board to do that. President Wick Mormon sent us back a letter and said we can't do it in 2013, we'll do it in 2014. He said contact John Irvin, and we contacted Mr. Irvin, and he came back with the email and said, sure, we're going to do this. I'm from Niles Branch, Magistrate Harris. He said, I am from Niles Branch at Hardy in Pike County, and he is now an official with Wick Norman in Roanoke, Virginia. So we will have the train, and I think that, Charles, this is the train, that it will be a steam engine. It will be this engine that will pull that train. Will go from Buchanan County into Pike County in Kentucky into West Virginia and back. And Charles Carlton, we appreciate on behalf of the Fiscal Court of coordinating and putting this together. I think it will be a success. And I might add, we're going to continue to work with CSX. We haven't had any breakthroughs on it on our Big Sandy excursion train, but we're going to continue to do that. We are above schedule on our Judicial Center, and we will possibly get it a little earlier than we thought we would get it. And of course, we have some offices to be moving in the Justice Building, and Doug Tackett will be moving over in the Justice Building, and our coroner will be moving in. We also will have we have plans for the third floor, Judge Hayes, on a program at the jail, and I would like for you to speak to that, please.
Judge, as this court is aware, when the AOC moves over to the new Judicial Center, we will have vacant the third and fourth floors of the Hall of Justice. And even so, then at that time we will pick up and be liable for the remainder of the bond payments on that building. And that is going to be some financial strain. We've been looking for a way to offset that ever since it was known that this would occur. So as much as a year and a half ago, I met with Judge Kelsey Friend, with Richard Steinberg of Las Vegas, Nevada, who's with WestCare, president of WestCare. I met with those two and Jailer Rodney Scott, and they had the idea that dovetailed nicely into a way to offset the cost of that bond payment, and that was to convert the third floor of the Hall of Justice to a minimum security facility that would be part of the Pike County Detention Center. And of course, the idea was that that be a minimum security drug rehab unit. We have learned that in this war on drugs that government is constantly waging, and in some people's mind that we are losing, that we have done many things on the enforcement end. We're getting people in jail, but unfortunately, the recidivism rate among addicts is very high if they are not placed in some kind of rehabilitation program. So the idea of this, Judge, to be very brief, is to establish a rehab program for minimum security inmates, which will be administered by WestCare, which has done an excellent job in this county. And we're in the process, Judge. We've had several meetings, and you've been in on those, and we are in the process of trying to evaluate what this would cost. We don't intend to propose at this time, and hopefully never, any bond issue. We want to try to get this financed through appropriations and or local revenue that we may generate, for example, as a result of the current lawsuit pending against one pharmaceutical company. But we would like to get this done. This would probably house about 120 people. It'd be 120 beds, and they would primarily be state inmates, and the housing of state inmates to the jail is a profitable affair and would help with the jail's budget, which this court provides. And so at this time, to bring you exactly up to date, I'm in the process of trying to do a very complicated application to Department of Corrections in Frankfurt, which is required by law whenever there's a new jail built or any expansion of a current jail. So that's where we are, Judge. That has to be approved before we can even really start looking at what this would cost. And of course, we will keep the court advised when and as we move forward with this.
Thank you, Judge Hayes. That's all I have. I had a conversation with Magistrate Harris and Magistrate Dotson in regard to the plans for a live production of Hatfield and McCoy's over to McCarr on the Hatfield-McCoy Park. We also, Mrs. Mays, we appreciate the Health Department's consideration, and we've just discovered we have public sewers over there and public water. So I think our problem in regard to that is resolved, but we will be operating on restricted property on one side or the property that Charles Carlton is working with the landowner to get across the road, where right now is being used for parking. But that was in June, and I got an update at the meeting of the Extension Board, which I'm a member, and found out that in June that they're going to have the first thing, and they've already had one meeting and got another, two meetings already, and got another one scheduled. So we are moving on Hatfield and McCoy, and we're moving to the area that most everything happened. We know that 80% in the movie with Kevin Costner was correct, 20% was wrong. So they are rewriting it with Betty Hurd and Randall Osborne and Chris Coleman with their input and that they've done, and hopefully get a good program or a good production done in Pike County in an area where it actually happened. So that's all that I have, and this is a special meeting, and everything that we bring up today has to be on the agenda. So we'll finish the agenda. The magistrates are leaving for a conference in Lexington. I won't be leaving in the morning, but they're leaving as soon as we complete the agenda for this. I want to acknowledge the receipt, the report of the audit of the Pike County Clerk for the year ended December 31, 2011. Do I have a motion? I have a motion from Magistrate Robinson. I have a second. I have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Authorized to execute a statewide emergency management mutual aid and assistance agreement, Mr. County Attorney. I think that's routine.
It is routine, but I'll defer to Doug if he wants to speak on the issue.
Just an agreement that we have to renew once a year for mutual aid should we need assistance from other counties during a disaster, or other counties may need assistance as well, and how to go about getting that assistance.
Thank you.
Motion.
Got a motion, a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Yes. Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Authorized for orders of affiliation for Shelby Valley Rescue Squad, Lookout Fire and Rescue, Kemper Fire and Rescue, Pike County Technical Rescue, and East Kentucky Trackers. And Madam Clerk, I think those have to be done separately, but we'll have one vote on them, and you will see that they're prepared correctly, so Mr. Tackett can have them to submit. Do I have a motion? And Mr. County Attorney, I think this too is routine.
Yes, it's routine. We do it on a yearly basis.
Got a motion and a second by Magistrate Johnson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Yes. Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. We have some leases that has to be taken care of today. Bobby Branham takes care of those for the county. And approve and renew a 2014 lease. It's PR 4387 with the Finance Administration Cabinet, Department of Facilities and Support Services, property located at 25230 US 119, Suite number 11, Belfry, by the Health and Family Services.
Judge, there are 5 leases here: PR 4387, PR 4471, PR 4847, PR 3952, and PR 3214. I make a motion we renew all 5
I have a
leases.
motion that we approve all 5s, and you can see that we're trying to get through this meeting so we can get on the road. I have a motion by Magistrate Harris. We have a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Bobby, I may add that's the same rent, that's the same as before, the year before. Thank you. Next, we have any bids to award. No bids to award. Magistrate's road work. Magistrate Anderson.
Motion.
Motion, Magistrate Anderson. Have a second, Magistrate Johnson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson? Yes. Magistrate Murphy? Yes. Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Magistrate comments. Magistrate Anderson.
Judge, just real quick, I'd like to thank my road crew. We had a real busy weekend, as I'm sure everybody did. We had a lot of snow, some ice. I enjoyed the snow, didn't like the ice, but I'm glad it's over. But I would like to extend a special thanks to my crew.
And a lot of people enjoyed the snow cream.
Yeah, they did. I actually had some myself.
And snowmen. And I saw a snow pig down in my community. So
that's all I have.
The Magistrate Johnson.
Judge, I want to thank my work hands, the road department up there. They've done a real good job, but we run out of salt, so we hope to get in some today. And we're still working on our building up there. We hope to get it.
Magistrate.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank everybody for their prayers and well wishes where I was in the hospital and everything, but I'm doing a whole lot better now and getting stronger. But, and two, our work crew worked all weekend. We had about 3 to break down, but they was all weekend. I want to thank them and people's patience. I ask for that. Thank you.
Magistrate Robinson.
I just want to thank all my work crew for the job they done cleaning the roads over the weekend.
We got excellent work crews, there's no doubt about it. Magistrate Dodson.
Judge, I just want to say that we've had a tough week, and I want to thank all the employees on our solid waste trucks and our road department. Sometimes we don't realize the situation that our solid waste people get in because under these conditions it's awful cold on them. But they do a tremendous job, and Bob, I want to say you're doing a good job with our solid waste program, and hope we can continue to do what we're doing. But Judge, we were out of salt probably last Friday, and all we had was what we could shovel up in our salt barn over there, and hopefully we'll not get in that situation again. But I want to apologize to the people. I know they were times when they thought we wasn't doing what we were supposed to do, but the men were out there doing everything they could do. And I thought they done a tremendous job with what they had to do with. But we were able to get a load yesterday afternoon. And I got to thinking about Chick. He didn't have a salt barn, and we had a salt barn with no salt. So I guess we probably in the same shape, our Chick. I hope you get yours fixed.
Hatch, give us a little update on the salt. So you and Frankie, if you would.
I've been in contact with them. I was in contact with the trucking outfit this morning about 7 o'clock. Between yesterday and today, we were supposed to get around 13 loads in. I've told the road foreman, I told Hillman this, that Saturday and Sunday, I was in contact with the highway department. I told the road foremen if they run out of salt, all they had to do is either call me or I'd tell them which garage to go to. We've got a contract with the state to emergency salt if we need it, if we run out in that predicament. So, we cannot control the trucking outfit because they're trucking all over 3 states. All we can do is put the orders in, they get on a list, and then they send it to us. It's not just to pick up the phone and tell them bring you a load of salt. Monday last week this week we had ordered salt on Monday of last week, and then we come to find out team did Friday that the lady that took the orders knew the trucking company was booked, so she didn't turn our list in. So then when we called Friday for salt, then we got on the list. Well, that was put us back. So I've talked to Dan, and Dan's always been good to us, helped us in any way we can. So I think I've got everything lined out now.
Good shape.
Hey, Frank, have we used up what they owed us, or are they still owe us some?
Oh, no. We've already used it up, and we're in the new contract.
But Frank, I wasn't blaming anybody. I know
it
was just a situation that we ran out, and I know we'd ordered it last Monday, and it went a week we didn't get any, and hopefully we can stay more up on top. I told the road foreman, we need to kind of.
Right. I told, as of yesterday, I told all the road foremen as they get one load or 2 loads in to notify my office so we can mark it down and know what. Jeff got 2 loads this morning at 7 o'clock. I mean, this trucking company will run around the clock for us and do all they can because they like our business and everybody else's.
All right, we thank you. And Judge, got one more issue here I want to talk about. Our ambulance service over at the Phelps. Last court meeting we thought we had everything kind of fixed up and they were going to move in, and talked to Doug yesterday, and I don't think they really made any commitment to moving in permanent as of yesterday. And, we're still working off the call, and they got to come from Pikeville or Williamson. If somebody has a heart attack or gets sick, it puts them in a bad situation over there.
Hillman, I talked to them this morning, and they told me they were definitely coming to Phelps, but they just haven't found a suitable place to move to yet, and that's what they were working on.
Well, Doug, I hate to dispute the word, but the same place where the other ambulance service worked out of so many years is available for them if they wanted to hit. And they told you they had another contract working on for
they
a different location, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, but they haven't got there yet. And they also said that Phelps Fire Department had contacted them about running out of one of their stations, too.
Well, that'd be nice. I know the people over there, when they get sick, they got to wait 45 minutes to get an ambulance, and that's not called for.
You might insist that these ambulance companies coordinate with the magistrate, Dotson.
I've asked them to call.
Yeah, make sure they do, because...
Well, Doug, I talked to them last year when they were wanting to come over there, and that guy said, I'll come over, and I've not seen him since.
Okay.
Well, it just insists they get a hold of him, or if I need to make a call,
we
let me
just
know.
appreciate whatever you can do, and I know the people will, and I know the judges want to see it happen, and we just need to probably keep stirring them and try to get them over there.
Put the pressure on.
I appreciate
And we need to keep talking to the states, because they're operating under a certificate of needs.
Yeah.
And we need to keep talking to them and telling them what our situation is and keep them updated.
Okay.
And Judge, you were talking about our Hatfield-McCoy meeting. They had another one last Sunday, and then I think they've got another one scheduled, and we've looked at an alternate place in case the weather don't permit them to do the outdoor, and they were real satisfied with where they were looking at, and it's our maintenance garage there at Phelps.
Sure.
They was really impressed by that building, and
That would be great.
And they just looking for a place in case the weather rains them out or they're not able to do it outside.
Good.
They'd like to do it in Belfry Auditorium over there at the high school.
Well, they can schedule. We've talked to Stephanie about scheduling over to the high school at Belfry also while they're over that way.
That'd be real nice if we could get it set up with a school to.
And the tourism, of course, we also are looking for funding, and we've talked to the congressman's office, and we've had opportunity to meet with two of his staff in regard to getting us some funding to put a bus. We have a tour bus over here at Pikeville, but we need a tour bus for the what we call the big tour. Now, we have had that before. Betty Hard, before her health, she had a health problem, was the narrator on about a 17-passenger vehicle that tourism had, and it takes about 4.5 hours to get the tour in. But we're looking for a large bus. The tour would still be over here, sponsored by the county tourism and the city tourism, and they do have a new bus. But this bus would be leaving here and going to that tour, but it would coordinate with the amphitheater, especially at those times, to take them to all the locations over there, and the one down to Burnwell, Magistrate Harris, down. We know where that one is, and it's good access to that. So we are. Sometimes you think that not a lot's going on in regard to Hatfield-McCoy, but they are, and there are a lot of meetings and discussions, and you have two magistrates from that area that has insisted and they're not going to let the rest of us forget where actually about everything happened over there, and it's history, it's a fact. That's where it happened. So we are moving forward on the production over in that section where it happened, and we have discussed the the high school auditorium, and now it's glad that we can have a place also besides the amphitype theater that we would have at the Hatfield-McCoy Park. Magistrate Dotson.
Judge, the bids for the bathrooms, do we need to go ahead and...
Bathrooms we had a meeting yesterday and looked at the budget. There are money available. And as I said, Mrs. Mays, we discovered we do have a public sewer over there that we can access, and so that solves that problem. We are on restricted property on one side of the road. Charles Carlton is working with the company that owns the property where the Auburn Tipple used to be. And if it didn't work out and we had to put them over, we have the River Trail. So that qualifies the money to have it on the Hatfield-McCoy Park site. Then if we go across the road, we'd still need that property for parking, as you know, because they don't have adequate parking. Jeannie I said, well, Bobby and I, we was over there, we parked across the road and walked over. Jeannie said, well, when I was over there last, we parked in the 15 or 20 parking places over to the park. So there are a lot going on, and we're going to continue to make sure that when June comes, the bathrooms will be there. Hatch, we'll need for you to, we don't need the perk test anymore because we got a public sewer. Now, we are working with Magistrate Dotson. We're working with Stephanie and people at Elkhorn City on the dressing room. We have to have facilities built. We look like we can build that out of wood. And we know the Hanna family, which is in that business, has been very good to us, as Hillman can tell you. He asked how much wood that Hillman needed over there and that Public Works needed to build that. He sent more than they needed, and it ended up larger, and that we're glad it did because they're considering having production on it. But they have to be a dressing room, and we was talking that possibly that would be built right to the back out of wood where that it is, but we are going to have the restrooms there by the time that they have the first production, and Magistrate Dotson.
Judge, would it be appropriate to go ahead and let Bobby get some bids, authorize some bids,
and continue to, and they've already talked to Frankfurt, and they know what can be spent for, and they need to apply for it, and the money is available in the budget for that. It was designated. Matter of fact, it has some restrictions on it, and we can use that funds to build the restroom.
Judge, we've got some plans that Summit drew up some time back, and the things that we can alternate them and maybe put out some bids, and I'd like to make a motion that we...
Let me interrupt you one minute. Also, Summit has some portable buildings that can be brought and put on a slab, and we met with Damas yesterday on Public Works if that's the way we went. But as you said, it probably have to be bid, but what did that run? They run about $24,000 plus setting them up? Damas?
Yeah, I think Charles had that.
Charles, what was that figure?
Be about 37.
37 set up. Now, we have restrictions on that property. That if they have to give us how much notice, Judge Hayes, does the Corps have to have us to move off? We can't put anything permanent that can't be removed on the property. Am I correct?
You're correct. That was in the deed. We have a deed for the property, but it is restricted, as is all the Corps in the floodplain. But Magistrate Dotson, one reason we were looking at these they were called portable buildings or whatever, and that brings you to mind maybe an old sorry-looking building, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a substantial concrete structure with stainless steel fixtures in there where nobody can go in and tear them up, and they would look nice. They're really nice looking.
I looked at some of those John Charles gave me, but they don't have the slab that the building set on, so that's extra. And then the plumbing is extra. I don't think they had the showers in those, did they, Charles? And you know, you got to get your slab ready for them to set the building on.
That's correct. We understand that.
They're beautiful buildings, but I'd say time we get all that done, we're up in the 40s or 50,000.
There, probably 40, I'd say, because you don't need the sewer. The sewer thing's solved now.
I think probably
so
40.
You don't need that, and we know what it was going to cost us on the sewer. I mean, we have a projected cost of what it's going to cost us, but we met with Damas yesterday, and so they can handle the slab, they can handle the plumbing, the hookup after they come and set it. But we'll not be doing anything until you're consulted and our staff, and we'll get a meeting set up as quick as we can get some bids.
Judge, I think it would be appropriate to get quotes from both ends, you know, and see what Damas said it's going to run, because you're going to have to do the material on the slab and the plumbing and all that, plus the other way if we have block and mortar.
Mr. Carlton, would you give us a figure that if he made a motion not to exceed, and would it be, we don't have the sewer problem, we got a public sewer there, we got public water there now, we found out. Would it be, we don't want to exceed, and of course we have to have the security type laboratories in those, but give us a figure if he's making the motion so that we will have a figure, and we know the money is there, and it's for this.
Judge, if it's over 20, it has to be bid. The county attorney just reminds me. But Bobby Branham, you have something to say. This is a special meeting, and
discussing something in the public comments. So I think it's legal that you, if it's over the item I'm talking about.
Can you do that under the judge's comments? I've been commenting a whole lot this morning, Mr. County Attorney.
No, you need to go ahead and do it at the next meeting if you're going to bid it out.
Okay, the county attorney said, Magistrate Dotson, we'll just do it the next meeting. We'll have the cost and bid it out.
Well, I think that would be appropriate, just get both ways and get some kind of figure what it's going to cost on both ends. And we'll just pass over it into the next meeting.
Pass it to the next meeting, and we'll have the cost together, and and the Magistrate Dotson can make his motion.
And Judge, I talked to State Representative Keith Hall last week, and he's talking about the Great Eastern Trails that's coming through West Virginia, taking in all the different states. And I told him that we will be in a legislative meeting on February the 21st in Frankfurt with our legislators. And he is going to try to set up a meeting with the people over tourism that's looking at the Great Eastern Trail. And he's hoping that you or some of your staff could maybe meet with him and the people while we're in Frankfurt.
Great Eastern Trail, Judge Hayes, you want to briefly just give us an update on where we stand on the Great Eastern Trail? I know we had a meeting last week in regard to that.
Yeah, again, this is one of those trails that will be traversed in large part over holdings of private land companies, and we don't think there's going to be any problem with the one land company, at least, Charles Carlton, who we've been working with on that. We have a projection of exactly how that's to run. There was a meeting scheduled here with the Great Eastern Trails folks, Magistrate Dotson, and of course we want you to be at that meeting. It had to be postponed because of inclement weather. Has it been rescheduled, Charles?
It's been rescheduled for Monday, the 18th at 1 o'clock here in the...
So you may want to be here, because a good part of that trail will, in Pike County, come off of the Pine Mountain Trail at the trailhead at Elkhorn City. It will come right down the main street of Elkhorn, which will be good for Elkhorn City, and then go up in the hills, cross Farrells Creek, Magistrate Murphy, and then up on the hill there to another large area where we know we can traverse that, and then end up on the fish trap, the Corps of Engineers property, actually onto our horse trails that's on lease property from Department of Fish and Wildlife. The state of Kentucky has that lease. And then from there, it will, out of Lick Creek, it will be on the property primarily of a couple of large landholding companies. It comes out on Blackberry, Charles. Where does it come down there? It has to come down the hill to the public road, and of course then it will pass through those historic areas of Blackberry, and should be of much interest to anyone walking that trail, Magistrate Dotson. And eventually it'll cross over and go into West Virginia there at Make One. So that's, but be sure to be at that meeting.
Is that just a walking trail, John?
It's walking and horse. No motorized vehicles can be had on that trail.
Representative Hall must be mistaken, because he said it was a ATV trail. So
no, it's not an ATV.
Only a walking trail. Turn your mic on.
It can never be an ATV trail, because it's traversing the Corps of Engineers property, and there's also a land use restriction on one of the land companies, so that
and I don't
it
believe
will not work out.
We'll have to get clarification, Magistrate Dodson. I don't believe the Great Eastern Trail people would allow motor vehicles on their trail. I have walked the Appalachian Trail, and that's not an unusual restriction. The Appalachian Trail through the Smokies, there are no motorized vehicles allowed on that.
This trail runs from New York to Alabama. It's west of the trail that Judge Hayes has said is Appalachian Trail. It's west of it. We were fortunate to get it through Kentucky, and we have to give Paul Hopkins, administrator of the health department, who got on the board and asked them at their meeting in Richmond, Virginia, to have the next meeting in the breaks, and convinced that board to bring that through Kentucky and Pike County. So a lot of work has gone into it. Mr. Carlton's done a lot of work on it. We've had meetings. We took that up with the Corps when we met in regard to road at Fish Trap last week. We also discussed with the Corps the Great Eastern Trail and the use of their property, and they was waiting on some more information and said that they would approve it, Judge Hayes, and we could move on. And hopefully we're going back to Frankfurt, Magistrate Murphy, and when Jeannie gets the meeting set up, to meet with the Secretary and try to find out. We bid the Fish Trap Road, and we'll be going back to Frankfurt. Same ones was down before, Hatch, that went down. We'll be going down for the meeting. We'll probably wait on the Corps to see, and they indicated they're going to give their approval. Then we got to talk to the Secretary. What happened, they required us to move the elevation up on the hill, and they took the coal seam out, so we don't have that money. So we ended up in a deficit, so we'll ask for money from the state. We already have the $2 million in the escrow, and
Right, but,
hopefully we'll get that moving. But we
how
discussed
close
with
are we
them
on
the
the
trail
finances,
at the same
Judge?
time.
How close are we with the finances on the bid? And
Got to go back for the meeting with the Secretary, and Jeannie will let us know when it's set up.
Okay.
Okay, Magistrate Dodson.
Judge, I'm just about through here. I want to let the people at Joe's Creek know, I know you've got a lot of calls, Bobby's got a lot of calls, and Judge Hayes got a lot of calls about the break that we have in Joe's Creek where the road had slipped off. And we had planned on working on that last week, but the snow came, and I tell the people when they call, we've got to move the snow, and we made an alternate route around that break, and Frank and my road foreman is aware of what they're going to have to do down there to repair that break. I guess it's about 70 feet long and about 30 feet high. And hopefully with Frank and the road foreman, they get that taken care of as soon as possible, because I know people are having to haul the kids out there, aren't they, Frank? The bus is not able to get back. So we are working on it, and hopefully we'll get that took care of as soon as we can. And I've got one other thing. I read something in the paper. I don't know if it's something you're aware of, or Roland, or what, about the legislator, them passing a law about being able to carry guns into city buildings and things. Did you see something in the paper about that?
I don't carry a gun, so I haven't paid any attention to it, to be honest.
I don't either,
I'll
but
try
I'm
to
going to start
research
carrying
it,
one
but
if that's what. I want to make sure it's legal before we start bringing them in here.
Well, I will try to determine whether or not it's legal or not. I honestly don't know.
I think there was a bill introduced. I don't think it's been through the process.
Judge, I read something in the paper about it, but I couldn't figure it out. And one county had petitioned that the fiscal court, where they would be not allowed to bring them into the courtrooms.
Bobby, next time you talk to the governor's office, ask them about that, would you please? Let Hillman know. Master Dotson.
Judge, that's all I have, and we've got a meeting this evening at 6:30 with a coalition in Lexington. Hopefully we'll find out something about a coal severance tax and be able to bring it back to the court. Thank you.
Master Harris.
You said just one more thing about 4 or 5 times, right?
Well, the Magistrate Harris made a motion on 5 different things at one time.
First, I want to say, Leo, I didn't know you'd been in the hospital. I apologize. I would have called to check on you. I'm glad you're. Oh wow! Well, I'm glad you're back and doing better. Obviously, you're back on the trail again. So good.
Master
good.
Harris, Magistrate Murphy, and I have something to talk about now. Health.
Yeah. I also want to thank my road crew. They've been out working hard over the weekends, a lot of overtime and road scraping, salting, and those guys don't get the credit they deserve for coming out in all hours of the night and in the morning. And Danny Branham, our road foreman, does a really good job with those with the crew and all the members of the crew. I was hoping that Roland, you could give us an update. I know there's been some developments in the UMG, our open records lawsuit with Utility Management Group. I was hoping you could give us an update on that.
Yes, UMG has filed their brief in circuit court, and I will be filing a motion to set it for hearing, so I would expect the judge to sign it for hearing later this month or the first part of next month.
So all the briefs have been filed, and the only thing left is a hearing?
All the briefs have been filed. I would assume he would probably want an oral argument at a hearing.
Okay. I apologize. I'm not going to be able to attend the coal meeting or the conference this week. So you all bring back some. I hope you bring back some good news about coal severance money, because we sure need it. The other 2 things I want to talk about. One is the parking area, the proposed parking area across from the McCoy home place at Hardy. There's evidently a lease or a deed or some document floating around, and I'm unaware where it is or what stage we're at in getting that put together.
Go ahead, Judge Hayes.
It's not floating. It's sitting on my desk, as a matter of fact. I finally got it back from Attorney Larry Webster. Actually, I've had it back probably 2 months ago. The problem is, Magistrate Harris, we keep shooting at a moving target over there. The deal keeps changing, in other words. And I can explain it to you now or after the meeting, but basically what's happened, it was to be a very simple thing. Initially, there was not to even be any lease payment, but then we decided on $50 a month, which was fine. We have an area, Charles Carlton laid it out, and we have a drawing of that, so that's no problem. But I sent it to Larry. Larry held it forever. When I saw him one day, passed him going into the court Hall of Justice, I asked him where it was, and he said, I'm having a problem with it. I can't find anything wrong with it. I had drafted it and sent it over. But he finally sent it back, and when he did, he added some things that the landowner wanted, and one was she wanted to put a kiosk on it. She wanted to do that, and that was to be something for that she wanted to sell stuff out of for related to her father, who was a very, very famous bluegrass musician, I understand. And then she wanted some other things, and it wasn't any big deal. But the last thing, and that's when I just almost threw up my hands, we were going to go in there, take a little bit of the toe of the heel off, brush it, and put a real nice parking area there, gravel. But then the last thing, I got a note, she'd called in and she wanted all the gravel removed when we left there. And it just, it's a changing deal. Large heavy buses park there, so taking up that gravel would be a pretty big thing. So that's where it is. I can give you the details, and we can figure out just exactly what you want to do, because your road crew would have to do the work anyway. So I'd be happy to get with you and get that done before the spring, if we're able to come upon an agreement. She wanted a sign also put there honoring her father, the bluegrass musician, which is kind of going away from the whole intent of it. It was to be for the Hatfield-McCoy tourism people. Anyway, that's where we are.
The other thing is I just want to bring up the fact that we had some more good publicity over the past couple of weeks with the Diggers show on National Geographic. They found some artifacts from the old McCoy home place, part of the actual home that had been burnt down, and some bullets up in the hillside that they had uncovered, and that's just some more good publicity for our area and for our tourism industry. And I want to say a special thank you to Bob and Rita Scott for letting the public have access to those artifacts that were found on, that's private property, and it was found on private property, and they've graciously allowed them to be put on display at the Tug Valley Chamber of Commerce. So anybody that wants to see them can just stop by there and check them out.
Good.
That's all. Thank you, Judge.
Judge Hayes, do we need a closed session?
A very brief one, Judge. Won't take but a few minutes.
Make a motion pursuant to KRS 61-810 to move into executive session to discuss specific personnel matters.
Have a motion, a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Murphy, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Dotson.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes. Need a motion to go back in session. Motion, Magistrate Robinson, second, Magistrate Murphy. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson.
Here.
Mr. Johnson. Here. Mr. Murphy. Here. Mr. Robinson. Mr. Dotson. Mr. Harris. Judge Rutherford.
Yes. Judge Hayes, personnel recommendations, please.
Judge, we have 4 job postings, and we recommend with regard to the first one, mini packer driver, solid waste area number 3 at Robinson Creek, 3H pay rate, that we employ Harold Fraley, who was the senior of the 2 temporary employees who bid on that job. Next, Judge, we had Weedmore, CDL driver, road lot number 1, heavy equipment operator, road lot number 1, and truck driver, road lot number 3. It's personnel's recommendation with regard to all 3 of those posted positions, Judge, that we pass those matters until the next court meeting, and further that Commissioner Frank Harris of the Road Department test all 3 jobs, the bidders on those jobs for proficiency at the jobs for the jobs on which they bid. Next, Judge, we recommend approval to hire Ron Reynolds as a temporary employee as road foreman for lot number 3 at a 4.8A pay rate, and pursuant, Judge, to the policy and ordinances of Pike County, that be at the base 4A pay rate, with only those benefits accorded to temporary employees, with the exception of any benefits required by law to be paid, and specifically I'm referring to a single plan medical insurance policy, health insurance. Next, we recommend approval to hire Robert Johnson as a temporary heavy equipment operator at a 5H pay rate, effective February 4, 2013, but he is not to exceed 100 hours of employment per month. He will be replacing Charles Blackburn, who is off on sick leave. Next, we need approval to hire Bobby R. Phillips as a temporary heavy equipment operator for road lot number 1 at a 5H rate of pay per hour effective January 16, 2013. He is replacing Vernon James, who retired. Next, Judge, we recommend approval to terminate James Irvin Blair, a longtime Pike County employee. That will be effective February 5th, 2013. He had been off work for a period of time and has informed the court that he is retiring. Next, we need approval for Isaac Sanders to temporarily replace Willard Kahn as road foreman for road lot number 1 at a 4A rate of pay, including longevity, effective January 28, 2013. Mr. Kahn is off on sick leave. Next, we need to just acknowledge the resignation of Dwayne Cliff Robinson of our Public Works Department. That would be effective January 31st, 2013. He'd worked for Pike County, Judge, since April of 1986. And finally, Judge, we need to acknowledge the resignation of Terry Green as of January 22nd, 2013. Terry had worked for Pike County Fiscal Court since December 2005. That's our recommendations, Judge.
My recommendation and my motion. Have a second.
Second.
Have a second, Mr. Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Reed?
Yes. Madam Treasurer.
We've already done the correction to the order number on that invoice. Authorize any necessary transfers and interfund transfers to pay the bills, payroll, health, and life insurance.
Have a motion? Have a motion. Have a second. Have a motion, Mr. Murphy. Have a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Reed?
Yes.
Authorize a check in the amount of $1,760 to the Kentucky State Treasurer for Kentucky Pollution Discharge Elimination System permit at the Fords Branch landfill.
Motion.
Have a motion. Have a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Reed?
Yes.
Authorize a check in the amount of $550 to the Kentucky State Treasurer for Damus Ramey's contractor's license of $100 plus late fee of $50, Pike County Fiscal Court contractors $200 plus late fee of $50, and masters of $100 plus late fee of $50.
Have a motion and a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes.
Authorize the judge to enter into and sign the shelter agreement with Hills Pet Nutrition Incorporated on behalf of the Pike County Animal Shelter for continued purchasing of animal food. Roland, I checked with them. They said basically it's the same as what we've been paying. The percentage off of the dog food includes the shipping and handling, so there shouldn't be any increased cost, which
Have a motion.
we purchased the dog food at 50% discount at the latest list price of a 40-pound bag for puppy and canine, and 74% discount of latest list price on a 35-pound kitten and 20-pound adult cat.
Motion.
Have a motion, second. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Reed?
Yes.
Acknowledge for the receipt of the calendar year 2013 maximum salary authorizations required by KRS 64.5275 for the county judge, county clerk, county sheriff, and county jailer.
Have a motion to pay for the bonds. Motion, Mr. Murphy. Have a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson? Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes.
And I just have to notify the fiscal court that if they have a need to talk to the Kentucky State Auditors, that they are here to conduct the audit for the fiscal year 2011-2012. They've been here almost 2 weeks now and are situated in the finance office. I have no further business, Judge.
Okay. To have a
Motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn. Motion, Magistrate Anderson, have a second? Have a second, have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson, Magistrate Murphy, Magistrate Robinson, Magistrate Dodson, Magistrate Harris, Judge Ruth.